Hello, movie nerds, and welcome back to Cinematic Sarcastic, the podcast that talks all things movies and television. I am Natalie, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to do a little bit of a cinematic double feature and talk about two new drama series that have dropped, one on Apple TV and the other one on Amazon Prime. I didn't really have that much to say about either of these television series, so I figured I would combine them and kind of give you my opinion and thoughts on both of them together, since I don't necessarily think that I have enough to say to warrant doing an episode for each. So the first series that we are going to talk about is the one on Apple TV, and this would be Masters of the Air. Now, this is a new World War II drama featuring Austin Butler, Barry Keoghan, quite a few other people are in this as well, and this really kind of is about the bombers that were in air battles during World War II. Now, I have heard some kind of discussion on whether or not this is particularly accurate as a television show to how those battles would have taken place, or some of the sort of details going on as far as the show is concerned. I don't really have that much info on whether that is the case or not. I think as a drama television series, I think it's beautifully filmed. The air sequences, I think, are done really well. It doesn't look particularly CGI or fake to me. I think the acting is pretty well done, and I think that this jumps directly into the action. Like from the very first episode, they are taking shots, things are happening. It's definitely not a slow burn series. This one is just not one that I am particularly interested in. I don't necessarily watch a lot of like wartime films, and I don't usually tend to enjoy those types of things. So I haven't made it past like the first episode of this one, and it's not one that I'm likely to kind of tune into or enjoy just based on the material. But I don't think it is like a bad television series by any means. It's just not my personal cup of tea, but I did want to throw that out there in case it is something that you guys would enjoy. That Masters of the Air, I think, is actually fairly well done and worth giving a watch. Now, on the other hand, the other television series that I wanted to talk about is one that is an Amazon Prime television series, and this one is a drama called Expats. Now, Expats stars Nicole Kidman and Brian T. and quite a few other people. Jack Houston is in this as well, and this one is a little bit more confusing. It is less cut and dry and to the point, like Masters of the Air. This one I found very convoluted. It is meant to be sort of the separate stories of three different women that are connected by a mutual traumatic event. I did not make it very far into this one, but for different reasons. I didn't make it far into Masters of the Air because I am not particularly interested in like military style films. I didn't make it even through the first episode of Expats because I found this one to be incredibly boring. It was incredibly confusing. They don't really explain anything. It's like you kind of know what's going on. Like, that there are traumatic events that are happening to each of these characters, but it doesn't, at least in the first episode, show you any connection really between these three characters. I only know that it's a traumatic event that links them all together because of the description of the television series that it gives you. But other than that, I wouldn't say that there's anything particularly that interesting about any of the characters that are going on here. I think probably the only real draw to the show is Nicole Kidman, and seeing her was really the only reason why I tuned in to check it out. Otherwise, I think I would not have tuned into Expats, and I did not enjoy even the small amount that I did see. I think I made it through like half of the first episode before turning it off. I found it just very boring. I will be completely honest. I just didn't understand what was going on. This is one of those television series where I don't know if I'm just not smart enough to like get the plot, or if it just wasn't that engaging for me. But it was not something that I found interesting or that I wanted to know more about the characters. I found it a little bit stiff and a little bit wooden as far as like the acting was concerned. Even though there are these like traumatic events, it just sort of seems like nobody really, like, they're all very robotic. Nobody really has that much emotion going on. So it was just kind of convoluted and I didn't find it that interesting. I don't think that the reviews for this one are going very great, so I'm probably not the only one that found this one a little bit hard to watch, but I would not recommend Expats, whereas I would recommend Masters of the Air, because I think Masters of the Air is at least, interesting. It at least catches you right out of the gate, where I don't think that Expats does. So those are really all my thoughts on Masters of the Air and Expats. Like I said, I don't really have too much to say about either, because neither one of these are particularly things that I am specifically that interested in, or that I think I am the target audience of in the case of Masters of the Air. But I would love to know what you guys think of either of these if you have tuned in to watch them. Subscribe if you want to join the Movie Nerd family, and I hope to see you in the next episode.